Hello, hello. So this is Kelly Fullman. Be the hero and rescue yourself. Creating your very own inner courage to put on your own cape and be the hero of your very own life. So I've got a little bit of a serious look on my face this time. 9 times out of 10, I'm pretty bubbly because this is a subject that I have been very hesitant to talk about because of the position that I'm in right now, and especially after being laid off. The last thing I want to do is really kind of stir the pot, but I think it's a conversation that we all need to have, especially as females in the workplace. So here's the deal. Know who you are is something that I want all of us, male, female, no matter which gender or sexual orientation that you are on, it's so important to know truly who you are and know that I'm not a victim. I am a survivor, and I have survived quite a bit that a lot of people don't know about yet, and I probably won't let you guys in until I'm ready to, but I'm about to let you into some pretty dark and dismal moments of my career in the business world. I will tell you, I was pretty underestimated by people with power. They had leverage and they have money, and I've been pretty bullied and gossiped about and lied about at work by jealous colleagues. Um, I've been talked down to by those that have been above me in management. Um, like you, I've experienced some pretty amazing leaders, but some pretty horrible ones too. No one expects this when they're entering the workplace. I was born and raised in Beaumont, Texas. I was brought up to be a strong, independent woman. And when I moved here to Dallas, I thought, okay, all the bullying's over, all of the gossip is over. It's time to get out in the workforce, and it's time to be around a bunch of adults. But it's not called bullying anymore. What do they call it? They call it sexual harassment, or they call it toxic work environment. Bullying can truly happen to anyone. It occurs basically when manipulation or peer pressure takes over. It may seem like gossip or harmless conversation, but do you really understand that what you say or do to people can affect their entire life at work and at home? Some people just don't. They go through their lives using tactics like bullying, intimidation, and manipulation to be able to get what they want. So my first job in Dallas is a distant memory because I moved up here in August of 2002 after I graduated with my undergraduate degree in communication. And it's a memory that I'll probably never forget. I didn't know a soul when I first moved here, and I obtained a job at a company called Service Interactive, and it was about a $25,000 a year job. It was not much. It was not much, but it was something, because I had nothing. So I jumped right in, learned my role, and I developed great relationships with the service technicians that I sent out to repair jobs to fix various machines at different restaurants. One of these techs was my favorite because he would always answer my phone call. He would always get the job done on time, take care of my customers, and take care of them with excellence. And I would always get compliments on him. So he was always the first one that I would call, always before I would call any others, because I knew he would take care of my customers. He was so appreciative that one day he came to the office to bring flowers. He had never met me face to face. So it was a big surprise to come back from lunch and find a big burly bearded guy standing there with a handful of flowers and a thank you note. It was my first moment. It was my first achievement and the first indication of my future career on how well I built relationships. And I remember the COO walking by, and he saw this, and he called me a whore in front of the entire office. So this day, to this day, I don't understand why he said it, and I never got to ask. I was so upset that I went directly to HR, which is what you're supposed to do, right? And I reported him, and because that's what they tell us in orientation. They go over the sexual harassment stuff, and they tell you, if you have sexual harassment and this is what it is, then you need to come and report it to HR. And you always think you're doing the right thing, but it turns out, even though that was how I was trained and what I was told to do, it wasn't what they really wanted us to do. So 2 weeks later, I was fired from Service Interactive with zero cause. Needless to say, with leadership like that, the place shut down in about 3 months. Regaining my confidence took so many years, and I doubted and blamed myself for being too friendly, too nice, or too kind. I replayed our conversation in my mind and what I had done wrong. And you just always want to, you look at yourself and you're like, what did I do wrong? How did I make this mistake? And what can I do better next time? Instead of laying the blame on the other person, saying he was wrong. So when I finally got the job with DeVry University, I started working with them in 2003, summer of 2003. After almost a year living in Dallas, they said, Kelly, we want you to create a new role, something that has never been done before, and we want you to do it. I was so excited and nervous at the same time, and that first week was pretty much a blur. I felt as if the past was behind me and that this was it. This was where God wanted me to be. Then week 2 went by, and I started to hear the rumors that were being spread around the university about me. Someone who didn't know me, and she was a female, told others that the only reason why I got the role was because I slept with the directors of the university. I was devastated. I was hurt. I was embarrassed, and I almost wanted to quit right then and there. So I went home devastated, and my amazing boyfriend, who's now my husband, talked through it with me and said, Kelly, you deserve this position, and you are going to do amazing things, and you get to design it yourself. So don't let one person keep you from kicking butt in something you know you're good at. This is one moment of many that has led us being together for now 15 years and going on many more. What if I would have let the rumors, the voices get to me? Would I have been able to be as successful and be able to affect so many kids' future and allowing them to know that they could go to college and they had a chance if I had just left? What if I had lashed out? What if I'd quit and lashed out? What if I would have gone and kicked her butt? What if I would have gotten into a fight? I would have lost my job and she would have won. So I did end up kicking butt and creating a position in the university that was adopted by other campuses and later all over the United States. And I moved up to a director of high school programs for the entire state of Texas. The people who spread the rumors eventually were let go for underperforming. I will tell you, they were more worried about getting me in trouble than they were doing their own job. So they basically hurt themselves. I was well respected and loved by my staff and faculty. And when I spoke, they listened. Every step of the way, I did my job with excellence, worked in my strengths, and worked hard. I felt good to be influential and impactful, and we changed many lives through education. Even today, I have some students that still can contact me through LinkedIn telling me that I inspired them to go to college. I saw a quote somewhere that said, all great changes are preceded by chaos. Well, they are not lying about that one. Leadership changed within that university, and not for the better. After graduating with my MBA and 8 years with a company that I planned to stay with until I retired, I knew it was time to go. I left for what I thought would be an amazing opportunity, and it was like going from the frying pan into the boiling pot. Um, the new leadership, or the leadership at this new company, I was director of admissions of a cosmetology school, had been basically one of the worst experiences of my entire career. The tyrant leadership from the top never ever works and impacts the entire company and will completely derail the entire organization. So does lack of leadership. It was sad to hear that when the CEO walked into the office, that everyone would shut their doors because they did not want to hear cursing or yelling um, throughout the entire building. And I'm talking about not just regular, I'm talking about the F bomb, and people would lock their doors and be scared and so like filled with anxiety when they knew that he was coming in the office. And it trickled down to the VP, who was my leader, and to the two directors, myself and another young lady. We were stressed and afraid of every phone call and request and every 2 a.m. email. Yeah, we would get emails at 2 o'clock in the morning. It was toxic and it was affecting my home life. Sometimes you have to make decisions to leave even with no plan. I quit with no other job opportunities in sight. During all of this time, I was competing in bodybuilding competitions in the bikini division. I'd modeled for a sunglass company in my bikinis and worked with photographers to build my portfolio. As I was looking for work after I left the cosmetology school, I just figured it would be easy to find a new job. With all the years of experience, with MBA behind me, I thought, who wouldn't want me, right? Wrong. Truth is, I was having a rough time finding work. At one company, I learned that I was not hired because of my bikini modeling in the past. This was a local title company full of females, and they thought I would be a distraction. Of course, they did not tell me this to my face. However, it was the feedback I received from our good friend who actually referred me to the title company. Again, I had been judged by my looks and not my ability. How many times have you been judged as someone you're not? How many times have you judged others and later learned you were way off track? How many times have you lost out because of your looks, race, or gender? Most people never know it when it occurs. Prejudice can be devastating. Being prejudged is unfortunately destructive. After that, I was devastated, confused, and deflated. I could not bring myself to apply for another job for weeks in fear that this was what all people see. For the next 3 years, I was in pure chaos working for startup organizations that were filled with not so great leaders who managed out of fear and lived to publicly embarrass their employees. And 3 years, I went from confident, successful, and respected to self-critical, timid, and insecure about what I had to offer an organization. It only takes one moment to get you back to where you were. That confidence is still inside you. For me, it was when my current company called that changed. No, it only takes one moment to get you back to where you were. That confidence is still inside of you. For me, it's when as the years moved on, I was able to move in with an amazing organization and actually start seeing some success and started feeling confident about myself and found my, inner me again. But then it just takes one moment just to bring you right back to where all of that insecurity and all of that pain comes from. A very wealthy CEO whose company became a client and was very influential in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and could refer many other organizations to me for business. He messaged me over Facebook before our first meeting with his leadership team and himself and asked if I was happily married. I was mortified because we had just signed the contract, and I told him that I've been married to my best friend and true partner in life, and that this was inappropriate. I didn't report it at the time because his company was my first big client, And truth be told, the fear from the past before kind of still haunted me. And so I was starting to have a little anxiety. So I didn't want to lose my job, which was what happened in the past. And the fear of being blackballed in my territory, especially in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. He apologized, asking me for forgiveness, and he would never speak of it again. Not too long after he left that organization, and we were able to finish the full-on engagement successfully. Then about a year or so later, he was hired on to be a CEO at another company out of New York. And he sees on my Facebook page that I was in Orlando on business and messaged me if we could meet for dinner and drinks. Well, I don't drink at all, period, whether I'm getting ready for a show or not. And since I was in the middle of getting ready for a competition, I wouldn't eat either. So I just told him, yep, I'd meet you. And I'd have a Diet Coke and some water, and we'll talk business. So he agreed, but he had other ideas in mind. As he drank, he became very brave, and he kept asking me why I married my husband. Because my husband's not a millionaire. You don't understand why I married him. What did I see in him, were the questions that he asked me. I guess he felt that because my husband didn't have $1 million, there was no other reason that I'd be with him. Then he asked me for my room number. I was shocked, angry, and completely disoriented. I left, and I don't even know who paid for my 3 Diet Cokes because I just left. I can't understand to this day why he thought he could ask me that question, why he thought he could belittle my husband and think that I would drop him after 15 years because he had all of this money, right? I reported the incident to my leaders, and the following day, after I had talked it over with a fellow employee who urged me to say something, the first thing out of his mouth was, "We don't need his effing business." Then the cavalry was sent in. The VP came in to talk with me, and he was livid. He was very upset. And I'd never seen this guy upset before. They assured me that, I would be protected and that we would never do business with him or any other organization he was associated with now or later. I was partially relieved, but something snapped in me, and I fell into a pretty ugly depression. And I don't even know how to describe how I felt. I felt like a failure. I felt like all of my efforts to build the business and reputation with an organization that very few people get the honor of working for just left in one moment. I mean, have you ever felt like the bottom fell out and you just didn't know if you were ever in a place you deserved to be? I was paralyzed for 2 months and did not go to any networking events because I was afraid that he had already started talking. I started missing deadlines and missing calls. I was pretty non-responsive to my leaders and fellow employees. I felt myself just sitting there staring at my computer, wondering what I was good for. My courage, my confidence, all of it was slipping away. I had to reset. I really did. I had to reset, and I had to work through some self-destructive mindsets that was kind of keeping me from moving forward. Because there were so many things that I wanted to accomplish, not with just this company that I was with, but just in life in general. This is not an easy or fun talk. It really isn't. But it needed to be said. And so many more women have suffered in silence because we are too afraid or we are embarrassed and feel guilty that somehow we were too nice, we smiled too much, we were too pretty, or even question if we led them on in some way. You are more than your pretty face. You are the talent and the brains and skills behind who you are, and you bring so much more to the table than just eye candy. Believe me, believe in yourself, and the confidence to use those talents and education that you have to do your job, and don't let anyone ever tell you otherwise. Thanks for listening, and I hope this story helps someone. Be sweet, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning into my podcast, Be the Hero and Rescue Yourself with Kelly Fullman. If you enjoyed listening to my podcast or watching this YouTube video, please follow or subscribe to my channel and walk with me through my journey of celebrating my very own heroes and an opportunity to learn the valuable lessons they taught me over the years, which allowed me to gain the courage to wear my very own cape and be the hero of my life. You can also follow me on Instagram at K Fullman, that's KFUHLMAN, at Facebook, /K Fullman1, or on LinkedIn, Kelly Fullman MBA. Also, please leave your comments below because I see feedback as a gift and it will guide me on how to help you gain the courage you need to rescue yourself. Be sweet, y'all. Thanks.